It's not victim blaming to say that there's probably more that we could all be doing and could all have done to avoid narcissistically abusive relationships. It's not victim blaming, it's just a statement of simple fact. Sometimes it's simply a failure to follow a straightforward protocol of discernment and intentionality. What kind of relationship are you entering into? Is it a familial? Is it a professional? Is it a romantic relationship? What do you want from that relationship? What are your boundaries? Have you considered them ahead of time? So if you float whimsically into relationships with no real intention, a massive amount of permissiveness, not much demand from yourself or from the other person as to what it is you want and what the objective of the scenario is, it doesn't mean you're at fault for getting into a narcissistically abusive relationship, far from it. But what we could say is, had you had an intention and some boundaries, you probably wouldn't have gotten into that narcissistically abusive relationship. So when I talk about developing a moral philosophy, this is one of the things that it does, is it protects us from bad people and bad situations. But in order to protect us, I have to be able to recognize for myself that which is good and acceptable and that which is bad and rejectable. And then I have to apply that as an actual rule in my life, even if it's not convenient. And even if it's not the most pleasurable choice in the moment. That is an actual moral philosophy that defends me from trouble. A tremendous amount of the lingering pain that comes after a narcissistically abusive relationship is far more context specific than we realize and than our brain will tell us is the case. What I mean by this is, we focus on that which happened. We focus on the person that did it. We focus on the story and the timeline and the history and the drama of what happened. But what we don't see, what is invisible to the brain in many ways, is the context that's occurring now that we actually do have control over. For example, because of my narcissistically abusive relationship, I now have less money. I now find it harder to get work. I have a smaller friend group. I have damaged relationships with family members. It's harder for me to date and to build intimate relationships with new prospective partners. That's a problem. And that's context. That's out there in the world. That's a real fixable problem in the real world. It's not a neurosis. It's not a trauma response. It's not, well, some of these things are as a result of a trauma response, but it's not in me. It's not a psychological problem. These are practical problems. So as far as possible, the victims of narcissistic abuse in their road to recovery should seek to resolve the practical problems in their lives. If you want to feel better, and as a result of the narcissistically abusive relationship, you now have less money, you now have less opportunity, you now have a smaller friend group, fix those issues first. Sort your life out. Have friends, have fun, have prospects, move forward, and you won't feel as tortured and obsessed with the past and this person as you have been. Hello folks, just to let you know, we now have a new course out. It's finally finished. It's called Unplug from the Matrix of Narcissistic Abuse, and it's available from richardgrannon.com. Just hit this link right here and you can go get it.